Hello, this is Dennis from Dennis Kucharski Photography, and today I'm here to talk about my 2011 camcorder buying guide. They still, believe it or not, they still make standard definition camcorders, but they're getting harder and harder to find. My recommendation would be, if you're looking for a camcorder, is to definitely go HD, regardless of what the quality is. In terms of HD down the road, you're still going to be better off than if you got like something that's a standard definition, because they don't even really make standard definition TVs as much as they used to. 99% of the TVs now are high def digital, and that's what you're going to be seeing and using in the future. So you might as well future-proof your home movies by going to high definition now. And the cost for high definition camcorders has come down dramatically from what it used to be. So you can get a relatively inexpensive camcorder for a couple $100 that's high definition now, and not break the bank. There's a couple of different major brands in home camcorders. There's, of course, Canon, who is the biggest maker of camcorders, and Panasonic makes great camcorders. Sony makes good camcorders. In fact, Sony has the most experience making them, because they're one of the first companies to make the early camcorders, the Betamax and Beta units. I've noticed, and there's other companies as well, like Samsung makes camcorders. A bunch of other companies also make them. Kodak makes these little pocket camcorders that are very small, that you can put in your pocket. There are a couple different kinds of formats. It used to be that most high definition was recorded in a thing called HDV, which was it was a tape-based format where the compression, when you take a video, it's in digital, it has to be compressed, because otherwise the file size would be too large, and the camcorder would have a hard time storing it. So it throws away information that is redundant and uses algorithms to try and save space. The HDV format used a tape system, and it's harder to find tape-based systems now than it used to be. Most camcorders now either have flash memory or they have hard drives built in. I still prefer a tape-based system, mostly because it's an easy way to archive your footage. When you have a tape-based system, you just record, and when you're done, you can take the tape and you can put it, download it into your computer and have it that way, so you can work with the footage on your computer and upload it. But then also you have a tape version of it, and we know that tapes will last about 10 years or so. Most camcorders now, though, like I said, have flash memory or hard drives on them, and with those, you're going to want to keep making sure you have an external hard drive to back up, and then have another backup. So basically, you're going to want to have it in at least a couple different places, because the natural life of a hard drive is only 3 to 5 years before it crashes, and you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and lose all your family memories. One thing you definitely don't want to do is leave it all on your camcorder, and then if something happens to your camcorder or it gets stolen, then that's it. Junior's first steps, or Molly's first words are going to be gone forever. So overall, I would say if you can find for example, Canon makes an HDV tape-based camcorder called the HV40, and you can still get it online through some of the major, like B&H Photo in New York, or through Amazon. You can still find it, and it takes beautiful video for the money. But if you want to go down the tape or flash-based memory, just remember that you want to make a lot of backups. I use tape and flash-based camcorders, because I have a couple different camcorders. It used to be that the tape-based camcorders looked better than the ones that were flash or hard drive based, because the compression scheme that was used was different. The compression scheme that was used for the flash and the hard drive camcorders was called AVC-HD, and it had a lot of you could see a lot of artifacts and stuff in it with the earlier camcorders, but nowadays the HDV and the AVC-HD or flash or hard drive based camcorders are pretty equal in terms of quality. Some people would even argue that the AVC-HD based camcorders look a little better. It's hard to tell the difference though if you see them side by side. This year there's a lot of exciting new offers that are available for camcorders. Panasonic makes one called the SDT 750. It's SDT 750, and that one is a 3D camcorder, and it has a little lens that attaches to the front of it so that you can record in 3D, which is really, really cool. It has 3 CMOS sensors in it, and the benefit of that is that the colors on it look really beautiful, and it's going to be a little bit better in low light. It used to be that only professional camcorders would have 3 CCD or CMOS chips because it's more expensive, but they have put that in some of their more consumer level models now. But the Panasonic SDT 750 also has awesome 2D footage that it takes as well. So in a lot of websites it's actually gotten great reviews, and it's on sale now at Amazon for $750, which when it first came out it was like $1,300, so not a bad value for what you're getting. That would be more of a high-end consumer / prosumer almost level camcorder. Another one that just came out that Canon released was the Canon HFG10. That's the Canon HFG10, and this is a prosumer level model, but it's kind of, you know, it's very expensive, but it has 1920 by 1080p resolution, which is really, really good. That's full HD, and it has amazing low light abilities. Some of the best low light abilities that any camcorder in the consumer level has ever had. You can get by with like 1 or 2 lux, which is like basically like candlelight. And I've seen some of the footage on Vimeo and YouTube under low light conditions, and the camcorder footage looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing. In bright light, the colors look good. If you compare the Canon HFG10 to the Panasonic model, you can tell on the white balance that Canon models tend to have more of a warmer look to them on the automatic white balance. So if you prefer that, you might want to lean toward the Canon, but you know, again, the Panasonic is half the price. Sony also has come up with some exciting new, if you're into 3D, new models. They have one out now, and it's a 3D, so I think it's the Sony TRD-10, I believe it's called. And it has 2 lenses on it and 2 sensors on it, and it records in full HD 3D video. And it's supposed to have a special sensor in it that's really good in low light. There aren't a whole lot of reviews available now, so it's hard for me to be able to make a, and I haven't used it, so I couldn't tell you whether it's good or bad, but the people that have used it have seemed to have made indication that they think it's a great camera. I would love to give it a try. I've seen some of the 3D footage that it puts out on YouTube, and it looked really good to me. In my pick for a mid-level camera, if you're looking to spend around $700 or so, which in the consumer camcorder range, that's pretty much about mid-level, although it's a little bit on the high side. Canon makes one called the M40. Now that one has 16 gigabytes of built-in memory. It has the same sensor as the HFG10, which is like a pro level sensor, so it's awesome in low light. It has a beautiful, natural, warm look to it compared to some of the other models in terms of the white balance. And it has awesome dynamic range as well, just like the HFG10. Between the lights and the darks in the video, you can really tell there's a big difference in terms of the quality. Between that and even, it's so much better than some of the other camcorders and some of the examples I've seen from them. JVC also makes a 3D camcorder now, but it's a little bit on the pricey side. It's about $1,700, and it's gotten excellent reviews. For it has the double lenses, and it has supposedly it has great image stabilization in it. If you're looking to go 3D, that might not be a bad choice either. I would compare that with the Sony and make a decision based on that. My feeling is that the low light capabilities of the Sony are going to be a little better. And if you want the best of both worlds in a way, the Panasonic I mentioned earlier, the SDT 750, it has the uses the 3D attachment lens, so you can record in 3D, but then you can take it off and record in 2D, and its 2D capabilities are equal to or better than the Panasonic. I think it was the TM700 from last year, which won a bunch of awards and has beautiful, beautiful footage. It's very similar internally to the SDT 750, other than a few tweaks they made so that the other would be able to take 3D video. Sony makes a number of mid-level camcorders and higher-end camcorders as well, but I'm not as familiar with their products. The focus that I think is important for camcorders this year is low light capability. A lot of people shoot video in homes that are dimly lit or not the best. And some of the early HD camcorders had a very poor, especially the amateur camcorders, had a very poor ability to record in low light. Which is interesting because I remember back 20 years ago when we had VHS, full-size VHS camcorders, and some of the mid-priced ones of those could shoot in 1 to 3 lux, and they looked fantastic. So it's interesting how in that way we've taken a step back. But now we've come full circle, and the newer HD camcorders, especially the ones made by Canon, and the ones made by Canon that can shoot in 24p, which is 24 frames per second, progressive, and that's a special ability. Not all cameras can do that. Those ones have excellent low light capability. If I were buying one this year, I would be torn between two models. I'm not willing to spend $1,500 on a camcorder. So although the one I would really like to get is the HFG10, the Canon HFG10. It has a wide-angle lens on it. It has a very good build quality. It has manual adjustment for most functions. It has a lens that you can adjust on the front manually. It has the Pro sensor in it. It shoots AVC HD. It has 32 gigabyte built-in memory, and it has 2 slots on it so you can put flash memory in it. That would be what I would really like to get, but it's $1,500, and I'm just not willing to spend that. The Canon M40 has 16 gigabytes built in of internal memory. It has the same sensor, not as good of a lens, not as wide angle on it, but similar video quality. It doesn't natively shoot 24 frames per second or 24p, which means that if you shoot in 24p with the M40, you have to use software to convert it into the progressive mode, because it has like it shoots it at 60 interlaced frames like a wrapper, and you have to down convert it, which is a pain, but for the money it's probably worth still doing. The benefit of shooting in 24p is that movies, when you go to the movie theater, are shot in 24p, and that's 24 frames per second progressive, meaning it's not interlaced video. It's not every other frame is interlacing each other. It's a whole picture 24 times per second. So you could freeze the picture on your screen and it would look crisp. So that being said, the HFG10 I think is a really nice camera, but I would probably go with the Canon M40. The Canon M41 is another model they make. That one has 32 gigabytes built in, I believe, and it also has a viewfinder on it. More and more cameras now, they're not including the viewfinders, the optical viewfinders where you look through, or the electronic viewfinders where you hold it up to your eye. Most people are just using the side screens. But in very bright light, that can be a pain. And although I don't mind using the LCD screen, in general, it is nice to have an electronic viewfinder if you can get one on your camcorder. But that one is going to cost, more. I believe it's $800 for that one, and for the price difference, I don't think it's worth it. Now Canon makes the M400, which at most places is selling for $700, which is strangely almost the same, the same price as the M40, but that has no built-in memory, just the dual slots, so that you can hook flash memory up to it, and it takes SD cards. So for the money, you might as well just get the M40, I think. The other option would be one of Panasonic also makes some mid-range models. They have one, I believe it's the TMC 90, is a mid-range one they make that interestingly shoots in 1080p and 60 frames per second. And that video would be, if you're shooting sports, it's supposed to be the motion, and it looks very crisp, very beautiful, and just breathtakingly clear. And that would be shot in 28 megabits per second, so it's a high data rate, so there's not going to be hardly any compression or artifacting or anything like that. So the video is going to look really great. And that one, I believe, is in the mid 500s range, so that's not a bad choice either. Also the Panasonic SDT 750 and the I think it's the TM700 made by Panasonic. Those also shoot in 1080p, 60 frames per second, which would be really great to have if you're shooting sports and stuff like that. But I've also heard it's a little harder to edit, because not all software will edit that kind of those kind of frame rates. So you have to you can use the software that Panasonic provides with the camera, but if you're used to using something that's more advanced than that, unless it can accommodate it, you will have some problems. I believe Sony Vegas will edit with it, but I would have to double check about that. In other brands, again, Sony makes some mid-level ones that are supposedly pretty good, but I'm not as familiar with their mid-level products. JVC has been making camcorders for a long time, and they also have some, but I'm not as familiar with those either. My experience in the past is to lean toward Canon, and if not that, then I kind of like Panasonic. A lot of the Panasonics have a Leica lens with them, which Leica makes tremendously good lenses. It's hard to beat a Leica lens, but again, I used to have a Canon GL1, which was a professional level 3 CCD chip camcorder, and it was used by news outlets during wars and things like that, because it was small, but the picture quality was amazing. And this camera had a fluorite lens, and it was the lens quality and the quality for a standard definition camcorder was breathtaking. It really was amazing. Until I upgraded to high definition, I had no complaints with the quality of that camcorder at all. And that was a mini DV based camcorder. If you want to find out more information about camcorders for this year and what to buy, my suggestion would be to go to camcorderinfo.com. That's camcorderinfo.com. If you go to Amazon, there's reviews of camcorders on there as well that can be pretty good. And then cnet.com, cnet.com, has camcorder reviews as well. And there's also an online online forums and things that you can check and look up. And Consumer Reports for this year also has some great reports that you might want to, on camcorders and buying guides, that you might want to take a look at and get their input as well. I guess the bottom line with all of this, though, is that getting a camcorder, you kind of get what you pay for in a way. But at the same time, as technology evolves, what you can get now at a low price point is 100 times better than what you could get 10 years ago at a similar price point. I mean, it's just leaps and bounds in terms of quality. And if you look at the high definition camcorder, digital camcorders we have now, compared to the VHS camcorders we used to use, I mean, the quality is just absolutely night and day. Even if you looked at a professional level VHS camcorder compared to what we have now, just even a lower level, consumer level camcorder, it's a huge difference. And but that, even with that, the difference between your cell phone or your point and shoot camera, the video footage you could get from that, and a mid-level camcorder, there's a giant difference in that too. So it's worth investing a couple $100 in a dedicated camcorder. I would highly recommend it. And then one other thing is that there's a lot of folks that have been shooting with DSLRs. I'm still not that into shooting with DSLR video. The Canon 60D, for example, shoots video and it looks good, but you can still hear the noise from when it autofocuses. The video looks good, but the ergonomics of the camera, it's difficult to hold it still in such a way that you would be able to get good footage unless you're using an image stabilizing lens with it. You can get the depth of field and use interchangeable lenses, which is nice, but the autofocus is just still not up to snuff. At this time, a dedicated camcorder, even though it has a smaller sensor and can't use interchangeable lenses, is 9 times out of 10 still going to get you a heck of a lot better footage than using a DSLR to shoot video. If you want to shoot video, use a camcorder. If you want to take pictures, use your DSLR.